Good morning, everybody. It's 9 a.m. Welcome to the February 6th, 2024 council meeting. Roll call, please.
Richardson.
Here.
Garza.
Here.
Magers.
Here.
Goss.
Here.
Fass.
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This morning, Pastor Dave will be leading us in prayer.
Sure. Let's pray. Holy One, known by many names and beyond all names, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, and Spirit of justice, we ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead the community in which we live, work, and play. Help them as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this? But what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind them that no matter where we live, everyone is our neighbor, and that throughout the ages, prophets have called the leaders of the people to respect and protect the least of those among us, our children, the elderly, the poor, those who are hungry, those who have no homes, those who are ill in body, mind, or spirit, the strangers in our midst, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, those who are forgotten. But grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May they and we speak out when it is time to speak out and listen. May they and we always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, all that we hold good and right and true. Amen.
Next item, please.
Item 4A, Jobs for America Graduate Students Presentation.
Is there anybody here for that? Okay. We can move on to the next agenda item. Okay.
Are you here for the presentation for job?
I think they are still coming.
Okay. We can go on to the next one and come back to you.
That sounds great.
Item 4B, presentation by Phil Nightingale regarding the Fairgrounds Racetrack.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for putting me on the agenda to talk about the Hutchinson Grand National Hutchinson track. We're going to hopefully get the contract signed with the Fair Board this on the 13th. Pretty forward, I'm coming to the city to ask what we can do together to help promote this racetrack, promote what's going on. And I have a few asks, if that might not be too much to ask too. We went out and did an impact study with the state, and I have some numbers here I'd like to share. Can I give those to you guys?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyway, these numbers are not my numbers. These are the numbers the state came up with. Basically, I did had them put together a attendance in the first real kind of, as you turn to the second page, I can get the highlights here. If we put 2,061 people in the stands, they're saying an impact study that $146,398 would impact our area community here, which seems like a big number to me, but that's their numbers. And so I always say, let's cut it in half and say what that's like. So if it's $70,000 per event, we're going to have somewhere between 8 and 9 events, depending on weather, from that standpoint. And then if you go to the other page, there's another one there with where we did actual 3,000, and it jumps all the way to 215,000, which is your second to the last page. So again, if it's half of the numbers of the 215,000, that's a lot of numbers that's generated for our area community and stuff too. So anyway, I'm looking for support, of course, from the city of Hutchinson. I have a couple things I'd like to see what we can do together to promote it, to help these keep the track going from that part. For first thing is we're going to have an event in July 19th and 20th, and that's we're bringing in what we call the Silver Crown Sprint Cars. That should bring a big, huge crowd. We're already getting a lot of response from people that say they're coming, and so I would like to see if we could make sure we have enough police support down there around that area around those 2 days. Of course, I think the first couple of events, I hope for what the community has reached out trying to save the track. I think there will be a huge crowd at some of those events. I expect maybe the first event, maybe the first two, there might be some deal. We're going to start April the 26th is our first race. We'll race all the way into November, December if we can with weather. This year we could have raced in December. Who knows? Maybe next year we might be able to race in October, depending on weather. So anyway, looking for some of that kind of support. Didn't know what else the city could offer to help us with the racetrack. Some ideas I came up with is we're going to use a lot of water. Didn't know if we could get the city to maybe donate some water to us to actually help that. We're reaching out for a lot of the area businesses have reached out to me for support. We're going to need some equipment to help maintain the track and that sort of thing. Didn't know if there was a possibility, if there was some equipment that the city had that they could loan us, let us use or whatever to help maintain that track. Right now the track is in a, best way I can say it is in a mess. It's not been maintained very well, and they had, after the fair, they had a truck or tractor pull there and they did a bunch of dirt work and they just left piles of dirt everywhere. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me to get going, and again, I can't get going till this contract is signed on the 13th. And of course, weather permitting too, what I'm going to be able to do as soon as I can get equipment in there to get going, to get ready for that first race. So that's kind of my situation, those numbers that I presented there. I just, questions, ideas, anything whatsoever.
One first question is about water. How have they done it in the past? Is it metered off of a fire plug, put in the truck and billed to the fair?
I think that's how it's done. There's a big spigot inside the track over there in turn 4 that I've always seen the water trucks go over there and fill up from there. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's got to have a meter on there because that's what the fair board has put in there, is basically a fee for the water that I'd have to pay for whatever water we will use. So I'm sure there's a meter on that. I would assume there is. I've never physically seen that, if there is a meter there or whatever in that part.
Okay. Well, something we can certainly look into.
Sure.
And consider.
Is there going to be any need for traffic control during those events?
Yes, we are hiring approximately between 5 and 7 of fair employees to help us with traffic, to help us with some of the ticket taking and that kind of stuff too. So really, is there going to be some traffic? I think on that one event, I'm expecting we'll fill the grandstands on the July 19th and 20th. And so that's 85 to maybe 10,000 people, I would suspect.
I don't think I think there's a lot of people that don't know what the Silver Crown Series is and what it means to.
Yeah, they only race on half-mile tracks. They only race on 7 tracks in the country on dirt. The rest of them are on asphalt. But it's a longer car, it's a faster car, and it's some really cool drivers that will come, and they've not been around. They're going to race in Belleville in, I think, May. But they've not been around this part of the area for a long time. But they are very cool cars to watch. We're going to hopefully have a couple cars come and practice a few nights before that too, so everybody can kind of get a feel for what those cars are. But they're very fast and very fun and very cool to watch.
And for that event, you're just asking for extra patrol around the area?
I think so. I think that's what I need, Greg. I think I just need some more, just to make sure with that amount of people that are there. In our discussion with the fair board, we've talked about that, of having to make sure, we have the proper security and stuff there to protect everybody. But I think just patrol cars pulling through there was what we really need.
I know when Budweiser brought in their Clydesdales, we patrolled that an awful lot overnight because they were boarding the horses there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was just a courtesy that we did because we were happy to have those folks there. But
yeah.
I would say that the amount of expensive property, i.e. vehicles and trailers that you guys are attempting to bring in warrants stepping up our police force a little bit. You guys, I would imagine that you're hiring EMS to be on site.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll have EMS on site, yes. We're bringing them, basically I partnered with Kyler Fetters from Dodge City Raceway Park, and he's going to be bringing most of his employees and fire and EMS with us from Dodge City to come in and help us with the track.
Okay. Well, I think most of us have supported the track vocally, publicly. We've spoken to the board or served on the committees, the ad hoc committees as well. I know these two did. So to see the numbers put together in this economic impact survey or summary is really strong, and I think it answers the question that has been asked all along, which is the track viable? Is it worth investing in? That sort of thing. So I'm really glad to see these numbers put together, and I think that this kind of answers, why we should be supporting it.
Well, and I agree with you too. Once I saw the numbers too, I didn't think the numbers would be that big, but when I saw the numbers too, I agree with you. I quite cut it in half, just say it's half the numbers from that part. And some people debated some of these numbers with me from the board, and I said, they've got that's what they do. That's why
Right.
they made these numbers up too. So even if it's half wrong with those numbers of what it'll bring to the community and stuff too, I think is a huge impact. And I do think, like you said, it shows this track is viable. And what it can do, and this response we're getting is huge right now. But now the proof's going to be in the pudding when we start racing. How many people sit in the stands? So, but I agree with you.
As far as asking for equipment, trucks, that sort of thing, I would ask the county as well. We all own heavy implements, machinery.
They're on my list too.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
yes. I'm going to go try to get with the county too and see what we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any thoughts from anybody else?
No, I think it's a great thing. I'm glad we got it to stay here.
Yeah, we've got 1 year to prove to them. My contract with them is just good through this first year, and after we get done with this first year, I'm going to go back to the board, show them my numbers, show them what it generated and stuff, and then hopefully we get a 3-year contract after that and really keep it moving forward from there. If we can get that 3-year contract, I've got a lot more ideas of things I want to do to the racetrack. This first year, a lot of people have asked me about the walls, and I'm going to do nothing more than enough to make it safe to race. All those wall panels do not have to be replaced, like I said, from that part. So to race safely right now, I need about 3 panels that need to be replaced to make it safe. So maybe we'll need 3 or 4, depending on how many cars hit the walls through the year, or whatever I'll need. There's a lot of talk about shortening the track too, and I do believe that if we get it for the 3-year contract, I will shorten the track. But that's still up for grabs too. We'll see how the racers like it and stuff like that too. But a half-mile track is very hard on equipment for some of the races we do. It's also a lot to maintain compared to a 3/8 track too. But we'll see how everybody reacts, how the racers like it and that kind of stuff. And if we don't have to shorten, great. But if that's where the racers think we need to go to keep racing and make it more fun and more easy and less hard on equipment, then we will. But again, we just got to get through this first year and show the fair board they were wrong for wanting to tear down the racetrack and tear down what we got here in Hutch.
I do got a question on the equipment.
Yeah.
How'd they do it before? They had Fairground had their own equipment to do it, or what?
No. Basically, what's happened there is, well, I'll go back to that. I race on that track too. My son races, and the track we raced on in July was probably the worst track surface that I have seen ever at the fairgrounds. You can't race on a track once a year and expect to have a good racing surface. So they didn't have enough equipment and stuff and long enough to work on that track to get it there. So they had donations and stuff like that from other companies and stuff. And I'm reaching out to all those companies too to try to get their equipment and stuff too to help maintain that track. But it needs a lot more of equipment than what they had to get a good racing surface for the racers, because it was so hard on tires this last July. It was crazy. I mean, we were going through 3 right rear tires. It should have took 1 tire to get through the race. So it's going to take a lot of work on the racing surface. I'm bringing a guy in from Iowa to help me with the dirt, to know how to prep it and what to do with the dirt too, because that's not my expertise, and I'm just going to go hire somebody that's going to do it, knows what he's doing with it, and that sort of thing. And he's gave me a list of the equipment that he thinks we need for that type of dirt, or I should say sand, that we have on that track to be able to maintain it correctly. So we're going to need lots of equipment, to be honest
So
with you.
I didn't catch the specific answer to the question. Whose equipment was it?
I don't
beforehand?
know who before. It was
Yeah.
not the Fair Boards, no.
It was not, they
No.
wasn't their water truck, wasn't their.
They have
grader.
one water truck there that's not even close to being adequate enough
Okay.
to provide the kind of water we need on that track. But yeah, as far as I knew, that was just basically donated or sponsorships or whatever that they had before to actually maintain the track.
No, the water truck is to put the water down on the track. Is that what
Correct.
it's for?
That's
And I've been out to the races before. They water it down after every race. The truck does.
Well, that's the whole idea. You want to try to maybe not have to water that track at all. You want to be able to you want to be able to water that track throughout the week and get the moisture down deep in the track. And when you prep the track, you shouldn't have to go back out. Is it a chance you will have to go like an intermission, will ever go out and water the track in between? Yes. But your goal is to not have to do that, so you can just keep the races going and not have that delay in that time. So are we working towards that will happen? Yeah, but it might take a little bit before we get a groove of how to handle that track and stuff too. But that water truck is a crucial part of the equipment. My guy that's coming says I need two.
One of the questions I have is, when you say equipment, that's just such a large area that we're not sure, and when is it during the weekend? There's lots of questions to even commit to something like that.
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
would suggest that we
Yeah.
talk to staff. I don't know if that's a road we really want to go down. But of course, we want to support, and this is what I think, Stacy, you were asking for from the very beginning. And we have that information, and there's a
Yeah.
case to be made for having part ownership in this and
Yeah.
being a partner with you.
Sure.
So,
And I understand your question. I'm here today is the first time just to see what we could do together and help partner together and help each other and that kind of thing. And I can get you a list of the equipment that I need. But it's water trucks, it's graders, it's tractors, and there's some tillers and things that you probably don't have that I can get somewhere else for that part that I will till the track and that kind of stuff too. But a motor grader, that kind of thing, and the water trucks are some of the bigger pieces of equipment that we're going to need to make that happen. And I'm not saying that I'm still not going to get some help from some other businesses and stuff from here in Hutch even too, to help with that. But I'm just looking at all avenues of what all we can do to help each other.
Yeah, a more specific list of exactly what types of trucks you need would help.
Yes.
And the dates of your events. I know I think they're online, but
They are online, yeah. I've got a copy of the contract here, but I got advised not to share it with you today because I had copies for everybody to share the contract from that part. But yeah, the dates are out there. If you want me to rattle the dates off now, I can. Or if
I've seen them.
you've seen them, okay.
how many total?
If we get them all in, it'll be 9.
9.
If we
Okay.
get them all in. And again, there's a lot of thing about the dates is I didn't get to pick the dates like I would like to. These dates are just what was, after all the time, if we would have got this thing approved in November, I think we'd have been a lot more ahead of the game. But we're so far behind the 8 ball now, still waiting on a contract to get signed. But these dates were the dates the fair just said this is all that's available for 2024. So I'm going to be fighting for more dates in 25. If we get to going through, I would like to see instead of basically it's once a month. I would like to see where we can get this thing to a 2-week-a-month race event at the track, but that's going to take some work too. But like I said, those are the dates that I got. That's all I can race. And do I like all the dates? No, I don't. But it is what it is for we can go race too.
Well, I appreciate the information, specifically the numbers. And I'm sure the chamber helped with this. Thank you, Leanne, for your part in this. Anything else from the council?
No.
Staff?
I think if you're looking for a general consensus that we want to try to help out, I think that's where we're at, unless anyone has any arguments to that. But I think we need to coordinate with our staff and Chief Burley in regards to what capacity we can or have helped in the past, and what works for us without overextending what our capabilities are without even asking. I just don't want to do that.
And I mean, that's what today for me was to kind of introduce you what I was doing, where I was headed, and to see what doors we can open up for each other and stuff too is more than what today is. So if I can come back at a later time with more detail of the equipment and everything else that I can, and things more on that side, I'd love to.
Yeah, and even with just an update mid-season, if you'd like to come back and
I'd
tell
love
us
to come
how
anytime.
things are
I
going.
can come monthly and tell you how things went every month, whatever it works to help you guys see what we're doing. But I mean, I get it.
I think you've taken on a huge undertaking here, but I know your work personally, and I'm excited to see what you do with this.
Me too. It's a lot of work, and it's a little nerve-wracking too. We'll see how we do. But I just hope all these people that said they fight for the track and want to fight for the track will come sit in the bleachers, because that's what we need.
Yep.
Come and buy a ticket.
Come buy a ticket and bring your one or two friends with you.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we need.
Well, thanks for coming, Phil. I appreciate your words and your work on this.
Thanks for having me, and if I can come back, I'd love to come back and see what we can do with the equipment, all that kind of stuff too.
All right. We will be in touch. Somebody will be in touch. We'll discuss it.
Okay.
Over the
Thank you all.
next
Thank you all very
weeks.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is the group from the high school here and ready to present? All right.
Okay. I'm Frida Oderberger, and I'm the JAG specialist for the Hutchinson High School Midtown Alternative High School. And as part of our program, we try to get students out in the community to make others aware of how the JAG program helps a community. So these 3 students have put together a short presentation that they want to talk about the JAG program in the community.
Hi, my name's Malachi Rue. We are from the Hutchinson High School from the JAG program. We're the JAG program in the Hutchinson High School. My name's Malachi Rue.
I'm Echo Kennist. And I'm Ariel Bowman.
Is there like a little switchy thing? Oh, okay. We're here today to answer the big question: how does having a JAG K school program help the Hutchinson community?
What is JAG-K? A Job for American Kansas Graduates. A JAG-K is a 501 organization which prepares students for successful futures. Our goal is to help students facing various barriers to have success overcome those barriers, graduate from high school, and get on a successful career path.
One way JAG-K has helped our community is helping high school students develop and define their career interests, like work-based learning through internships, apprenticeships, and hands-on activities, guest speakers, field trips to corporations, and mock interview and job shadows. This helps the community because the students by their senior year can have a career in mind, and the job gap is being filled by students.
So here's some of the things we've done. On the bottom right here, the paper on the corner, that's what we're graded off of. It's called a job interview rubric. The picture with the 3 women over here is something that Miss Allenberger took for like a women's thing or whatever. I don't know. But there's some pictures of examples that we've done.
Another way a JAG-K helps the community. JAG-K students are required to volunteer at least 10 hours of work a school year. JAG-K students help the community by helping organizations who rely on volunteers. In addition, students learn valuable skills for employment. For example, Toys for Tots, Kansas State Fair, Reno County Youth Services, and Salvation Army Tour.
These are some volunteering examples. They helped out at the fair. I can't quite remember. And we do Toys for Tots, or help out with Toys for Tots at the Salvation Army. And there's some pictures of people doing it.
Lastly, another way JAG-K helps their community is our 95% graduation rate. JAG-K students that stay in the program have a 95% graduation rate, and the graduation rate is higher than the Hutchinson High School graduation rate, which is 81%. what students receive in the JAG program is academic support and trauma-informed care. How does this help the community? It increased educational attainment provides individuals with the opportunity to earn a higher income through gainful employment options, which can lead to increased access to better living conditions, healthier foods, and healthcare services.
Students that are helped by the JAG-K program. 104 JAG program in Kansas. JAG serves 6,000 kids in Kansas. 74% of JAG students have free and reduced lunch. 52% of our students are students of color. 53% of our students come from single-parent households. In summary, a JAG program helps support students who are at risk with a 12-month follow-up plan after graduation.
In summary, students who need support while in Hutchinson High School are able to receive that through the JAG program. Having high school mentorship program like JAG-K can help students graduate high school and help the community as well. That's it.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I know the word is out about what this program does. I spoke to your class about 2 years ago and had a good time, very engaging class. It was asking me how my path to that point. And I believe I hired one of the students 2 or 3 years ago to help me out with some things in my business. But you guys have any questions of Echo, Ariel, or well?
Very good.
Tell me what JAG means. What's the abbreviation mean?
Jobs for American Graduates.
Excuse me? Speak up, come up to the mic a little bit.
JAG means Jobs for American Graduates for Kansas, JAG-K.
Okay. So is this only for 12th graders or is it for everybody in high school?
You can take it from 8th grade up until you graduate.
So they learn how to deal with jobs and stuff like that and how to get ready for the...
Just the other day we were doing like fake taxes and she was helping us like try to learn how to do taxes for when we're older and stuff. So kind of required skills for life.
I would encourage you to enjoy doing those fake taxes.
Right?
There's real taxes to be done when you get a job.
I know.
So,
You guys do much in the electrical, everything industry like that, on carpentry, stuff like that?
Not so
The
far.
building trades classes
Building
too.
trades, yes.
I just got in this try, so
Okay.
I have no clue what they really do
So
outside of this class.
I was in JAG for 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the 7th grade JAG program was a little new, but we didn't really do much for 7th and 8th grade. As a matter of fact, 8th grade, it was pretty much just a class you could sign up for and do whatever. But I signed up for it because we could, I want to be in the military when I graduate from high school. And I heard that the JAG program takes us out to, good military base, Miss Omok and I forget your name. Kaden. They had us, I wasn't able to go because I'm not 16, but they took us out to an Air Force base, and I just would really like to get to know the community more. And the racetrack, I was a little interested in that too. I think you did good.
Reason I'm asking, there's a great need for electricians, carpenters, and plumbers. So we have schools here. So may I say that the JAG program get with the colleges that we have here and see if we can't get introduced to the apprenticeship programs here. Okay.
Actually, we had the Electrical Academy come out, and they talk with our kids, and we try to sign them up, and we also do a summer program over at the high school with the trades there and Hutchinson Community College, and we had several seniors last year get into the construction aspect of that and enroll in that. And so that's what we do through our 12-month follow-up. We follow up with them monthly and find out where they're at, and we try to get them plugged into basically trades or a college.
Good.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you guys coming and sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Next item.
Item 5A, oral communications from the audience.
Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. It can be, you can visit about something that's not on the agenda. If you would like to visit about something that's on the agenda, please wait until that time. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. Justin Combs, Director of Parks and Facilities. I want to take just a few minutes this morning and introduce our new airport director, Alex Stang. Alex been here, I think, 3 weeks. I think it's the start of his 3rd week. He came to us from the Newton Airport. I'm super excited to have Alec on board and invite him up to introduce himself.
Yeah. Good morning, members, city staff, citizens of Hutch. Appreciate this opportunity to join the Hutchison family. Look forward to working with all of you in the coming years to develop the airport. Any questions you might have, I'd be glad to answer them, and I encourage you to come out and visit me, and we can talk about philosophy and all that.
Well, I will be out.
All right, absolutely.
Anyway, anybody have any questions?
No, the old director we had, what happened to him?
Pete Miller.
Pete Miller, yes.
Pete Miller, great guy. I've known him for several years now. Is actually part of the reason why I applied for the position out here.
Okay.
He's up in Salina now. He's the vice director of the airport up there.
I
Had
see.
a great opportunity there.
Okay. Is there any more employees there than other? We have 3. How many employees we have there now?
So 3, including me right now. We are working towards potentially bringing on another staff member.
Good.
I read your resume. It was forwarded to us at one point. I don't remember when, but thanks for coming to Hutch.
Yeah,
We look
absolutely.
forward to watching what you can do at the airport. I know there's a lot of opportunity out there. We've sat through a couple of meetings workshops that kind of outlined all of the possibilities for the airport. So those were really exciting to see what we could possibly do. And now it's just a matter of
Yeah, we
getting it
have
done.
roughly about 325 acres of undeveloped land. So we have great potential for development, not only aeronautical but industrial park as well. So we could go into manufacturing, logistics industry as well, and that'll help the it'll help the city tax base wise, bring quality jobs to the citizens, and then move us towards a more sustainable airport, self-sustainable. So,
Well, welcome aboard.
well, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Anybody else have anything? Good morning, Karen.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay. I just have a question. Is the city still looking at having a public meeting, and if so, when, concerning the noise ordinance?
We are actually going to be talking about setting an agenda item. We look at town halls probably happening in March.
March? 1st of March?
Probably mid.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Anybody else have anything? Good morning. Please state your name and address.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua DeQuay. I live on 319 East Park. I'm here to discuss an issue with the city regarding the code enforcement department. Give me just a moment. So I'm here to speak to you about a serious problem that affects me and many other residents of Hutchison. The problem is the misconduct of city code enforcement, specifically pertinent to Miss Debbie Cole. Part of that misconduct that has been going on, we believe that there's an abuse of power due to an authority to spy, harass, discriminate, and retaliate against not only us but other members of this society. Been a resident of Hutchison for about 4 going on 5 years, other people longer than that. We've always respected the city and the regulations. We've never had any trouble with the law or the city officials until probably the recent, I would say, year and a half, maybe 2 years most, in regards with this individual. Started out, we inherited a property, experienced a lot of family loss, lost 2 people, and had a couple people go to the hospital recently. And it's been a challenge. And the original complaint we had received personally, it started out over a nuisance for inoperable vehicles and the way the yard was. And we had entrusted this property with a couple individuals that just, turned out to bite us in the ass. You believe people are good people, you could feed them, clothe them, take care of them and all that, and some people just, they're not good. And so we encountered more losses and going through dealing with death and finances and trying to overcome that barrier and obstacle. Just one complaint started out with that, and then it became another thing after we addressed that. We tried to come up with a resolution with Miss Deborah and the city officials where we had an arrangement made for her to come out and verify that we had addressed these complaints that they had filed on us. And on a particular time when she was supposed to come out, for instance, she decided she was going to take a cruise in which we had to find out. And then the next thing that ensued thereafter was more violations, stalking, where they're driving up our alley, taking pictures, and just driving up the alley, and just a number of other different things that have been documented for the sake of everything. Recently filed a core and FIO request just to see who else in the area is receiving violations, what they're for, what's going on. Another thing we had going on in our area is, during these times of trial and tribulation and just life being life, we've been reached out by a realtor in the area. Hey, do you want to sell your property? No, we inherited this property. We'd like to get it fixed up. There's memories there. So we weren't the only ones approached to sell our house, our property, or whatever. Other members of our community in that surrounding area were also asked, and when we said no, we're going to keep it, fix it up, and people were able to do so. We all received complaints. It was crazy, and surprisingly, it's just people of color, and I'm white, I'm Mexican, I'm mixed. So me just looking at this as an American for being here for 30 years, I'm just like, why is this even happening? What's going on here? And we got before and after photos. We do an inspection of the neighborhood. We've looked around and compared and all that. Some people, they're just not receiving complaints. And when you look at the life and the situation from comparison of one yard to another and just everything that's going on, we've even had, officers like Sergeant Truman come out there and just, we can't find a reason why it's continuing. It's been documented 3 times with the local law, hey, this is going on. And, it's been a matter of just one thing after another, almost like a snowball effect. A side note that's relevant is we've inherited a lowrider vehicle that this individual had worked on that passed away. And, it was this truck, you know what I'm saying? You seen that truck drive by, who was driving it. Put a good smile on your face because you knew the guy behind that wheel. And she had asked specifically, about this vehicle numerous times. It's ma'am, we own this. This is ours. I don't know what more we should tell you or what we can do. We relocated the vehicle. After that, it became an issue. Even before Officer Truman, just what'd they do with this truck? What'd they do with this truck? And it's he even told her, ma'am, if they relocated, they complied. Where's your issue? And so, like I said, after that, then they turned the scope on the property and then the other vehicles. And it's just with life, with the deaths, with work, everything's going on. It's hard to balance everything with the natural day-to-day life and then trying to do what I'm doing independently for those around me. So,
Josh, I appreciate your comments for the 5 minutes. And if you could just provide me an address, we will look at this in staff meeting on Wednesday. Would you please do that?
Yeah, and I think there's something coming up on Friday. Is that
Yes.
accurate? And I think that's the reason why Josh is here today. There is, if I may, a court hearing Friday on this.
Okay.
Stems back from a violation in July.
Okay.
So we do have some information, and certainly it's the first opportunity I've had to even see you, meet you. We have not had a chance to have a dialogue,
Okay.
or we, to your knowledge, to my knowledge, you have not reached out to talk to me at all.
I came up here last week trying to get some answers and talk to some people, and I've been working on this for about 3 weeks,
Yeah.
ever since, one thing after another. So that's where I got this file, just been doing research, and then I've been trying to make contacts to try to get a resolution.
Mhm.
I've been in contact with a few people. I got their cards up here, but I agree, this is our first time talking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I think you were over talking to Amy at Municipal Court.
She was
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah.
I've been in this building and then in the city of Hutchinson building on just multiple floors, talking with different people, trying to get it, a point on this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us know about it. Feel free to reach out to any one of the 5 of us and give us more information.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
If I may, just I'll step out if I can, just to get a contact number.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day, everybody.
Mary, could
Thank
you just
you.
Mary, could you just get a contact number for me? Thank you.
I like that sweatshirt, by the way. All right. Next item, please, Linda.
Item 6, consent agenda.
Any questions, concerns, comments about the consent agenda?
I have a couple of comments. I think it's next week actually is School Resource Officer Week. Probably not a very commonly celebrated holiday, but it's one of those things. I think school resource officers are a valuable asset to the school community because they link kids who don't always have positive interactions with those in authority to positive interactions. They are in the buildings every single day, and they are definitely bridge builders. The other remark I'd like to make is that the F and G, the cereal malt beverage licenses, this is a direct result of the Beer Freedom Initiative that was passed in November. I think that this is one of those things that it's a unique offering by the companies that are asking to sell. They're heavily regulated through other licensing entities, and personally I think this is one of the instances where government can just get out of the way. I would like to see other businesses go through. It's not just we are just one piece of the puzzle for licensing and to sell. There are many more regulations that a business has to go through, and I'd like to see more businesses assess whether it fits their business model to sell cereal malt beverages and bring that to us. And other than that, I've read the other pieces on the consent agenda.
Anything else?
Oh, I need water.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second that.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Magers?
Yes.
Goss?
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Item 7A, consider ordinance authorizing termination of the Fairfield Inn Community Improvement District.
Angela Richard, Director of Finance. Back in 2010, we established a Community Improvement District, CID district, for the Fairfield Inn. In July of 2012, we began collecting sales tax for that CID. In 2017, the developer then sold the property, and therefore he no longer has operating expenses that can be reimbursed by the CID. That CID does not transfer to the new owner of that property. So here in the next month or two, we will have reimbursed all of his eligible expenses for the property. And that is why I'm before you today to consider the ordinance to terminate the Fairfield Inn CID. The process after this will be that we will publish the ordinance in the newspaper. We will then send a copy to the Kansas Department of Revenue prior to April 1st. They will then terminate the CID on July 1st. It has to be at a quarter. at the beginning of a quarter. And then when the sales tax has been terminated, we will record the ordinance with the county. So staff and legal counsel recommends approval of the ordinance as stated. Are there any questions?
Is somebody here to represent Fairfield?
No, not today.
Are they aware of this?
They are aware of this. We let them know.
And they had no objections? I mean...
No, there's no other eligible expenses that they were to submit, so.
There was an opportunity when we were looking at, they had an opportunity if there were any other expenses, and they could raise and present those expenses for us to make sure we've covered everything, which we've been in communication with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me get this straight. This is of the 2% that we give when they come and come and use our hotel rooms.
No, this is in addition to that.
Okay.
It's not limited to hotels, though we do have several hotels that do have CIDs. The mall has a CID as well.
I see.
And so what happens is they submit their sales tax to the state. The state then gives us the sales tax money. We keep track of that separately per CID. And if the developer has enough eligible expenses, which the eligibility is outlined in the agreement, then we can pass that money on to the developer to reimburse them for their expenses.
I understand. All right.
And so we were invoiced $8,830 on January 30th. Is that the last payment?
That is not the last payment. I'm anticipating that there will be another payment in February. We usually get sales tax around the 25th, 26th, so we'll make another payment this month and probably next month a partial payment, and then we'll have reimbursed all the expenses.
And the developer's window of time to ask for additional or submit additional expenses has expired. So we know what to expect
we have
for those.
communicated with him, and there are no additional expenses.
I'm going to go out on a limb and think the general public's going to want the sales tax rate for that to go back down.
Any other comments, concerns, motion?
I would move to approve an ordinance authorizing termination of the Fairfield Inn Community Improvement District within the city and termination of the Community Improvement District sales tax previously levied in such district in the amount of 2% and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, hearing a second.
Richardson,
Yes.
Garza,
Yes.
Neighbors,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item?
Item 8A, discussion regarding evening city council meetings.
Okay, this is something finally we're going to talk about that we've been talking about for a while. Anybody have strong feelings one way or the other? How should we start this discussion?
Is there anyone in the gallery that has any comments?
Yeah, I would be happy to hear anybody's remarks on that. I think the goal, if we move these to nights, is to have more public engagement. I would assume that would be a reason for doing that.
Well, I would tend to think we'd have more people here to want it in the evenings if it was already, if our today's meeting was in the evening, they'd be here to voice their opinion on it.
Okay.
So I think, my opinion, is by moving it to the evenings, you get two things accomplished. One is it's open for more people to attend the meetings, which I view that as a secondary. The primary accomplishment is I think it opens it up for more people in the general public to be able to run for city council. And I think that's where my primary focus is opening up for more people to be able to run and be on city council if the meetings were in the evenings. That's where my thoughts are.
I have a little bit different thoughts on. I think that maybe we should do it. We have 2 meetings a month on this. Maybe one meeting's at night and the other meeting's at the regular time. I mean, that probably put a lot of problems with our staff, but at least we're taking care of both problems. People,
That's something that's been tried.
yeah,
But it's still, it doesn't open it up for people to run for city
Right.
council.
Okay.
If it's, and I think it causes confusion on when city council meetings are if it's not a set time.
right.
I thought about that too.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, when there was an experiment a few years ago, the consensus was that no one really saw an increase in attendance to the city council meetings on the evenings versus the mornings. I
So,
don't know if that's a
just
valid data point.
Playing devil's advocate here, if you look at just anecdotally, the election data from this last election when we had the HCC board was on there, as well as the school board. School board elections this year were notoriously crowded across the state. So we had 11 candidates in Hutch. I'll admit I didn't pay a ton of attention to Bueller's, but I know they had a lot of candidates as well. All three of those boards hold evening meetings. I attend regularly the school board meetings. I will tell you there's very rarely ever anybody in the audience who doesn't work for the schools or who isn't there to present for an agenda item. Community members, they're watching. If they want to voice an opinion, most of the time they're going to send an email or they're going to pick up the phone and call one of us or catch us at an event or that sort of thing. The HCC Board of Trustees was not highly contested. Last time I went to one of their board meetings, they said, "Oh, are you here from Leadership Reno County? Those are the only people who ever attend our meetings. Thanks for coming." So I think they're very used to having an empty gallery as well. I'm not going to say that I think that we should move or not move. I think it's up to us to decide what makes the most sense for the current body. I think your concerns are valid with encouraging people to run. But I think that if somebody were passionate about running, the mindset could have possibly been that they could get up here and they could then change it to evening meetings to better suit their schedule. We provide many opportunities for people to give us feedback by posting our agenda early, which we're required to do, by attending events, by being in public. We're open to email. I have received one email in support of moving to evening meetings and 0 emails otherwise. And that was an email from this summer. So that was even before this was put on the agenda for today. So I'm kind of mixed feelings on moving it to nights. I don't think that it's going to have the intended result of filling the gallery with people who have opinions for us, nor do I think that it's going to give us a strong candidate pool in the next election, which is also 2 years away.
I would say that our response, even if we have 0 attendance in the gallery, our responsibility is to make it as accessible as possible to the general public. That's what my argument would be on that. And there are responsibilities on city council that go beyond what happens within the city council meetings. Mm-hmm. So there are other scheduling conflicts that people would have to deal with. I would argue that people would not run for city council unless they knew it was in the evenings versus running for city council and hoping it changes to the evenings if that works with their schedule. And we are, I would say, I've got a list of cities. We are odd man out in regards to the fact that most communities that are comparable to Hutchinson have evening meetings for their council. There's a handful. Salina does it in the morning, but or early evening, 4 o'clock. But most of them I have a list of are evening meetings.
Well, I have an opinion, a strong opinion. I can tell you from my perspective, I probably wouldn't have ran for city council had the meetings been in the evening. My evenings are protected, shall we say, except for all the other boards that I'm on that start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I think that that in the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative meetings, they're all late in the day. I think there's going to be quite a few conflicts, and those are things I've chosen to do. I'm not complaining about that, but 2 more evenings a month for me, and I maybe I'm being selfish here. I know based on the previous information, I don't think public engagement is going to change enough that we should move them. I think you can make the case, maybe it would encourage more people to be involved at this level, at our level, but I don't know. I mean, I know that we're talking about doing some community engagement type forums. Those obviously will be in the evening, hopefully. I think that's an opportunity for people to get involved. I know that for me, I always return a phone call, always will answer the phone, usually. I certainly want to be engaged, and I certainly answer the phone after 5 p.m. at night, too. I will say, and I've said this before, and I've said this to Stacy and Steve, that it's terrible that you guys didn't have any opponents. And I love you both.
Right.
It's not even about that.
I got you.
It's like, man, this is our country.
Right.
And nobody opposed, nobody, and especially you're at large, you're the entire city can vote for you.
Fired.
Oh, stop. No,
I'm all for moving it, and I hope that if we do, that something positive comes out of this. I was really hoping that with this being an agenda item today, that a couple people at least would have reached out and said, like, hey, I'm interested in running and it would fit my schedule better, or I've always wanted to speak to the council, but I've never been able to get away from work. I know when I was in my previous position, when I first started on the council, I had to take PTO for every meeting, and that was a really significant thing. I mean, I had also just come back from maternity leave, so I didn't have PTO to take per se. So I ended up having unpaid leave for a good number of the hours that we were here for those, but not everybody's in that type of position where their employer would even let them off. So I really do see both sides of the coin. I don't.
So you're in favor of moving it to evenings? Is it?
I don't know. If the goal is to have more community engagement, and if the goal is to have a stronger candidate pool next election cycle, I don't know that those outcomes are going to come to fruition. But
my feeling is it's been tried recently, 2018.
I would argue that it wasn't a very fair data point because it was 1 week, one day a month it was in the morning, the other day of the month it was in the evening. Did people really know that the meetings were actually moved to a different time? I think it was a half attempt to try. I don't think it's a very valid data point.
So, playing devil's advocate here, if we don't really have a strong Hutchinson News anymore, and we also don't have a public information officer who would be tasked with getting this change out to the public, would making this change be...
Would it fall on deaf ears?
Yeah, would anybody notice this time around either?
Well, we don't have to change it right now. We could put it out there, like, reach out to us if you think it would be beneficial to you as an engaged citizen, because we have a handful of engaged, maybe more than a handful of engaged citizens, and that's who we really need to be reaching out to, because we also have a lot of citizens that don't pay attention to anything until it affects them after decisions are made and things are put in place.
I feel like, again, maybe a hybrid system. If we're discussing the Woody Seat or the Lucille traffic light, we should have had evening meetings on that, I think. That might have been better, because we're still, getting, well, they don't listen, and they do what they want anyway.
We had meetings at Southwest Bricktown
Yeah.
meetings, things like that, leading
Sure.
up to it.
Sure, but I feel like maybe we could do a better job on some of the hot topics. If we know there's something very controversial, maybe having it in an evening meeting or in a different forum, kind of like what you're suggesting. I'm concerned about city staff. They've got to come here. They bring consultants many times in. Are they going to come and then spend the night, have to overnight?
Those same consultants go to all these other communities that have evening meetings without an issue. They make it work.
So can I offer a compromise here? Obviously, this is a discussion that you've considered and you've bounced around a couple different times. We do want to have community meetings in March. I'm not sure how that will be attended. I think what we've seen across the city when we've tried to gather data points, we've had to do a multi-layered approach with meetings, daytime, nighttime, online, group things. I think what we need more data. We need to have more information. And even though it was an agenda item, it was less than a week that people had to know it was an agenda item. And so if you're not looking for this city council agenda, you might not have seen it. So I think the compromise would be is for us to engage with the public. We have a strong relationship with Hutch Rec that has the neighborhood center. We've just conducted the meetings there. We have the zone meeting that's coming up. We have the legislative. There's some other opportunities for us to gather some data points. We're also going to have town hall meetings in March. I'm not saying to push this decision out till March. I think that what I'm hearing is that we would feel better if we had an opportunity to engage with the community, give them ample time to respond to this topic, and maybe we need to do that in a multi-level approach to try to get the information.
This isn't something I'm asking to be done in the next week.
Right.
I just think it's something we need to put on our radar.
I agree. I will say that. How do we get the data that we're all agreeing on as far as getting people involved to sit in these chairs?
There's lots of ways we can put out a survey to the community. We can do it via our website. There's ample way we can do that, but also engage with the community partners that we know within the neighborhoods to see if they can put that on the agenda to canvass those groups, as well as the town hall meetings with an end date of the meeting, say whether it be a month into our first meeting in March, that we have some information. That might be a way to go.
Well, I'm asking specifically on potential city council person candidates. How do we find that data that people would say, you know what, I'd get involved. I'd be a council member if it was in the
I think
I would have run, but
the question would be,
yeah.
is the time of the meeting, whether it be the daytime or nighttime, a barrier for you to consider running?
Right.
That would be the question we would pose.
I want to know the answer to that.
Well, just my 2 cents. I think I have a lot of time commitments in the evening, and so and I know that, just kind of like Greg, and I probably would not have ran for city council if they would have been in the evenings. Now, I ran and got elected, and basically I'm wanting to do what the community wants us to do. If the community comes out and says, you know what, we want you guys to have evening meetings because that means we're more available and we can come to those meetings, then I'm all for that because that's what I signed up for. But if we're not going to get the response by looking back at the previous data where they didn't have very many people showing up for that, then I'm like, well, then we probably should leave it during the day. So that would be my 2 cents, that we do need to collect more data to kind of see if that's beneficial to our community. If that's going to make it to where another city council nominee wants to run because they can do it in the evenings, then yeah, we should take a look at that. But we've got to find the information to make sure that's the correct decision. And not just throwing darts at a board just to...
No, I want to make a decision based on information.
Yeah. I think that's one of the topics I was hoping to discuss at the town hall meetings that are coming up. And another thing that Wichita does specifically is they have community advisory boards for each jurisdiction. And those are, just like all of our committees, those people are appointed for a specific term. They're volunteers, they're unpaid. But the hope would be that each one of those people is empowered to speak to their neighborhood or to their the people that they identify with and associate with, and bring that information back to the council members for them to make a decision. I know specifically when Wichita was considering some kind of landlord thing, one of the council members said, well, I haven't heard from my community advisory board yet, and he didn't want to make a decision without hearing from those people. So I think they place a lot of value in that particular committee setup, and that's something that I would like for us to explore. I know the zone kind of gives you that opportunity, and many of us have attended, but if we had that on a more formal
well,
scale.
I think you already have it. That's at the rec commission. We have all those different units we have for the rec does a good job. I think the difference they can do in the rec thing is hire each block that represent, like the south end town, they hire a president. And the president is in charge of, with the rec commission, in charge of getting the information from the people, and that president comes back, but that president represents the south end and so on and so forth. I would be a little reluctant to get more government involved because it's hard enough as it is. As far as running, I work every day, and I get off for these meetings. And you got to give, if you really want to be a council member, you will give the time. I really want to be a council member, and I want to get back to the people. That's why I have the zone meetings. If you get some kind of one that wants to be on this council, they will do what they can to be on this council. If it takes, before I got elected back in 20, I went to my bosses. I was just getting my job at the correctional facility. I knew I was getting interviewed for this new job. And I went to the bosses, the interview board, and I told them, look, if I get elected, there might be a chance. If I get hired, there might be a chance that I'm going to be a commissioner. And I said, and I want to know now if I'm going to have problems. No, they loved the idea of me being a commissioner because I represent the correctional facility. So I put all my ducks in a row before I even got elected. And I do, my wife's sitting here, she can, on this, we spend a lot of vacation times going to meetings, PTO times going to meetings. But I knew that when I got on this board. I knew that I was going to give up a lot of stuff. I give up a lot of family time now. But I knew that when I became a commissioner. If you're going to have commissioners running this town, they got to be able to want to do it. And if it takes them to go at nighttime, then it takes them, if they want, is that the only reason why they want to run it, because they want it at night? My gosh, there's a lot to being a commissioner. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, take a shower, eat breakfast, so I could be at work at 5 in the morning because I get comp time every day. I have an hour a day I do comp because I want to be a commissioner. That's why I do that. So you have to look for people. If you don't look for people that don't want to be a commissioner, just want to be in here to show that they're commissioner, then we're not gaining anything. You got to get people who want to be commissioners and want to make a change. And if they want to make a change and they really want to be a commissioner, then they'll do what they have to do to be a commissioner. That's just my 2 cents. That's my life. So I give up a lot of free time, but I'm not blaming nobody. That's me. So I would say that we do the time that we have to get the information of the data and see what the rest of the people. I will go back to the zone and talk to the people that come to my meetings. And that, again, on the zone, people want to come to my meetings. They come. Nobody tells them to come. I have a whole list of names that I have, a whole book of names I have. I call those people every time, and I tell them, hey, I'm having a zone meeting. You know what? If I don't have a zone meeting, people are calling me. Where's your meeting at? They let me know about it, you know. That's good. That's because those individuals want to be part of the community. And that's what you want. You want somebody who sits on this board that wants to be part of the community and want to make change or whatever it takes. But I think we should go by the data part of it, make the data, and go from there, and maybe we can see the difference or whatever. That's my point.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll continue down the path that we're on, making a note of attendance, thoughts, and if the public is engaging us personally about this issue. Fair enough? All right, next item.
Item 9, report of city officials.
Steve?
Good. Oh, I just said on my part. Biggest thing is the 17th I have a zone meeting over at the zone 805 East B. Did I get it right this time? 805 East B, 9 o'clock. Be there. We have a lot of discussions, a lot of fun. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
John?
I really don't have anything for today. Thank you.
Scott?
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank the fire chief and the fire department for inviting us out to their fire banquet. I thought that was a great event to honor the men and women of our fire department, and then had a great time. And then I also wanted to, I finally get my feet a little wet. I've met with all the department heads in the city, and I just want to let them know we have a great group of department heads, and they're doing a great job for our community. So I just want to tell them thank you. That's all I got.
Who's your favorite, Scott?
They're all my favorite.
Very good. Stacy?
I will echo your sentiment and a thanks to the fire department for inviting us to the banquet. It was really good, and it really humanized the firefighters and all of their staff who are going above and beyond for us every single day. Some of Chief Beer's remarks were that we had a lot of talent and a lot of institutional knowledge retire within the past couple of years, and so we have a young fire force who are going to require some oversight and training and that sort of thing. They're good, but they're a little green, so that's something that we as a community should look to support them in the ways that we can. Also, the fire department won the Battle of the Badges. I went, donated blood. I won't say who I voted for, so congrats to them. You're gonna have to step up your game.
Shots fired.
There was a police officer in there donating when I was in there donating. So kudos to your staff for also donating. I look forward to hearing from people about the evening meeting topic. I know many of the people that I interact with daily are parents, and schedules don't align for evening meetings because of children and their own schedules. But that's not all of them, and so I do look forward to hearing from not only parents but professionals and other people in the community about what's going to work best for them and how we can be more involved if we move meetings, if we don't move meetings. How can we as a council put ourselves in a position to hear from people and move forward in the best way possible. I had somebody ask me, and I know he's going to follow up, so I wanted to ask publicly if the 30th Street overlay was done on a bond. I don't know entirely what that means, so I can...
I believe it was.
Okay.
Cost.
Okay.
But we can get you more specifics.
Okay.
As in the contractor was bonded, or it was
right? Yeah.
it was funded through bonding.
There's two
I
different
bet it's
things.
a question in regards to the contractor
Okay.
being bonded. Is what I would guess they're asking.
Okay, I can follow up, and I'll give him your number, John. I'll follow up and see more specifically what that means. Another person asked what Halstead, north and south of 4th Street, what is the timeline for repairs to that particular street? You don't have to answer right now, but if you could get back to me with that. A person is asking. They're not satisfied with the state of the current road. And I said that I thought it was on a
and I can
schedule
review that.
for
I've got
repairs.
an Excel spreadsheet of
Mhm.
different work specific to some of the contractors, so I can share that.
I thought I remembered seeing it. I just couldn't remember what season or year it was going to fall in. Go Chiefs.
I had a couple things. I want to thank the citizens of Hutchinson for their patience on the Woody seat. I'm sorry that when you drive over there, it's not all new, but we are working and progressing so that that will be something that we can be proud of and not have to worry about driving on. Thank you again for your patience. The next thing I want to publicly, kind of like you, I just want to get it on record. The railroad situation, D in Maine or Bennett in Maine, Mary Grace, you and I have talked about possibly writing a letter to somebody at the railroad and see if that helps. There's holes in the crossing. I know that part of it is road work, but part of it is a crossing. And furthermore, trying to push a little bit harder on the railroad overpass at 30th and K61. We need to continue down a path of, either permission for us to paint it or the railroad to paint it or clean it, whatever. One more thing, 17th and K61. I don't know if our traffic engineers can make the yellow light longer, put a delay on it. I don't want to do something that creates more of a problem, but there's a lot of semi trucks that choose not to stop and they run through the yellow or the red, specifically southbound.
Okay.
Because the speed limit is 55, the light changes, they go on through. I've had 3 people contact me about that, and I've noticed it as well. And I just don't want a bad accident to happen there if there is an easy solution, if we can make that better for folks.
Okay.
While we're harping on that intersection in particular, we just redid the asphalt and it looks great. But those curbs need repainted. If that is one of the intersections that we're welcoming people into our community, it really needs painted. I don't know what the timeline is for that. I know everything kind of has a rotating schedule of when the streets are lined and painted and all of that, but that's one that
A lot of it has to do with the weather too.
Right. No, I know. I figured maybe it was on the calendar for this
Yeah.
spring, but it's an eyesore.
Okay.
And I think that's all, not to violate any rules, but I will put you on the spot. You might mention 30th and Halstead light intersection, the pole. You do know about it.
The
so
pole.
The
Yeah.
pole.
Well, that's still, we said earlier, that pole was a 6-month.
I thought there was an
lead
update
time.
on that. I thought you told me that we're
No, we're working, the pole is ordered, we're waiting for the pole. We
Okay,
also know
so
that as soon
nothing
as
to
that is done, yeah.
Okay,
That
sorry.
one is,
But-
my turn?
Yeah, sure enough.
I do want to thank Hutch Rec Center. The last 2 Saturdays, they conducted annual meetings with the identified specific neighborhoods. Through the 2 days, we met with 7 different neighborhood groups to talk about statistics specifically to their neighborhoods. The showing was good. We had double digits for I would say 4 out of the 7, which is a good showing. I think we had a great representation from the city at those meetings. I think it's important that we mention that, and which is great. We're working together about how we can, what the status of things that are important to them in those regions. It is interesting when you sit through there to see how the different pockets have different concerns and different needs. It's true representation of the challenges we face every day. Great job there, great participation. I appreciate all the effort put into that, and we'll continue to talk about that. We talked about Woody Seat being open. It will be closing again. We do have more work to do, but it's good news. Next Saturday is the Legislative Forum at 9 o'clock at Stringer Fine Arts. We understand there are at least 2 of our representatives confirmed with a couple other representatives trying to make this first one an appearance at. I do want to mention good news. The landmark project that we're working on did receive notification they are going to be credited with historic tax credits for them. That will help with that project move forward because that's a multi-million-dollar investment into our Main Street community. They also have received a Heritage Trust Fund grant, I believe it's a one-time grant, which is exciting. In order to get a multi-million-dollar project like that, which has housing and retail, it's a mixed-use project, you need to layer in different types of funding. So we're excited that it's moving forward. I would like to also acknowledge and recognize we got to meet Alex Stang here earlier today. We've also had the next probably meeting I will have introduce them and bring them in. But I've made some changes going forward where I've hired a new director of strategic growth, Dave Sotelo. He was our human relations officer, and he will be moving into this new role that we have to work on our housing, our economic, our workforce challenges and things that we have within our community. Dave's working hand in hand with Matt Williams, our community development, to be able to move projects that we have that are vital to the growth of our community. I also am excited that Colton Burke has accepted the job of the clubhouse manager at Cary Park at our golf course. Colton has been currently in the interim role. We're excited for him to take that on full-time capacity, so that's exciting for us as well. One of the things we are focused on is the need for a communications person. We are looking at how that role will, what our needs are. It's a challenging hire because we want to make sure that we get the right person, whether it's for writing skills or social media, because it's a multi-layered approach that we need as a city, and we will be focused on that hiring as well. I will mention that we are seeing a trend in the positive where we are starting to see a lot more resumes generated. We're going to continue to push that initiative. The city is a great place to work, and we welcome all different candidates to apply and come in. We're excited about 2024, and the team is working really hard. We were able to have a wonderful employee appreciation in January and appreciate all the employees that came out. Last week I was able to do the State of the City speech, and it was a good turnout, and my focus was about highlighting the employees and the fact that they continue to do great work for us in the city, and we commend and thank them every day. That's it.
All right. Thank you. I need a motion to recess into executive session. And it'll, how long are we needing? 15 or 30 minutes?
I think 15.
I think 30 minutes, or at a minimum, it might be a little longer.
Okay, we'll start with 30 minutes. To be done at 11 o'clock.
Yes, have a minute for a little bit of time for a break.
Sure.
Okay.
I move to recess into executive session pursuant to the personnel matters of non-elected personnel, exception KSA 75-4319B1, in order to discuss city manager matters. The open meeting to resume in the city council chambers at 11 a.m.
I'll second that.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Magers?
Yes.
Goss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.